windy today here. One of the occupational hazards of living by the lake, I suppose. Anyway, this is like a weird contrast. This like white on white is kind of weird. Um, I am taking a page from Amberlynn Reid and I'm sitting in the living room and I'm vlogging. Anyway, so it's been like a week since I posted anything and I just didn't feel like it. Oops. I had a really, really hard week of training this week. I went back to training in a box full time, and it was like, I don't know. It's okay. So let me just say this. I came from a place that had excellent coaches and had excellent programming and all of those things, right? And I am spoiled by those coaches and that programming. And so anytime you change coaches or programming and stuff, it's not like what you're used to. And so I'm just trying to keep an open mind about it because yeah, anyway, but nice people. Definitely a very different environment than what I'm used to. Um, yeah, it's a little bit more relaxed than what I'm used to, which is, I might, and it could just be the hour that I'm there, right? Because I've been going at 6 o'clock at night after work. So it could legitimately just be that I need to go to a different class time in order to get like the level of intensity and engagement, that I'm looking for. So anyway, but other than that, it was good. And then this was the last week of the CrossFit Open. I will go ahead and post the final, what turned out to be 2 workouts right here for you guys. Um, as you can see, there were 2 parts to the workout, 21.3 and then 21.4. So 21.3 was very much so like gymnastics based, and you had to keep up a pretty high intensity to get through all the movements before the time cap. And then from there, you immediately went into, once you were finished with 21.3, you immediately went into 21.4 for 7 minutes to find a heavy complex of the movements that were listed there, which is the deadlift, the clean, and then a hang clean, which is just you're pulling it from, instead of pulling your clean from the floor, you're just pulling it from between your knee and your hip. And then a jerk of some kind, which is just simply putting the bar above your head, right, with weight on it. So the goal there is to get as much weight on the bar as you can. My limiting factor is my hang clean. I am very, very much so leg dominant and leg driven. And so once I like take my legs kind of out of that equation, sorry, I'm kind of bumping the computer all over the place. Once I take my legs out of the equation, my output, in terms of my power goes like down exponentially, right? And that's the case for most people too. But so the lower half of my body is significantly stronger than the upper half of my body. So, hi Kitty. It was a good workout. Like I got a little bit further along in weight than I thought I would, just because I have not hang cleaned over like 75 pounds in a year probably, just because um I've been following a little bit of different programming, and I haven't needed to, like I haven't been on a building cycle since last year when COVID started, right? So I'm just sort of like not like starting over because I've been training this entire time, but I am getting acclimated again to, I think, just more volume of some of the things that I haven't been doing a lot of over the last 12 months. So anyway, um yeah, so it was pretty good. I was sore as shit for like 3 days, and that had not actually anything to do with the workout. It was just dehydration, which is really easy to do. And then, kind of once you're behind on your hydration, it takes a long time for you to catch back up, right? So, pro tip: don't get behind on your hydration if you're training, because you will feel like absolute trash until you can get caught up. And I have been like sucking water down for days now trying to get caught back up. So I think I'm actually doing pretty good um, right now. Anyway, this week coming up, training every day. Work has been an absolute nightmare. Um, Absolute nightmare. But I'm holding it together. I'm holding it together. Yeah. I have a bunch of stuff to do for my dad's estate this week. I have to call the VA. So I got this letter and they're like, yeah, we heard your dad died and we need you to call us to confirm that. And I was like, but I'm the one who told you he died. So I'm the one who called you on March 8th and told you that. Like, so anyway, I have to call them. And then my dad's tax return and my stepmom's tax returns actually got rejected by the IRS. And I think I know the reason. But I did reach out to a friend of mine. Well, actually, I don't know her personally. I just know her professionally. Um, she is a tax accountant and she is someone that I trust. And so I sent her a note today and just said, hey, would you have some time to talk this week? I think I know what the problem is, but I just need you to confirm that what I'm thinking is the right path to go down. I did end up filing an extension with the IRS just just to have it. Like, I think everything will be figured out by the 15th, and my dad doesn't owe any taxes and they're not getting a refund because they're collecting Social Security. So I mean, it's all kind of breaks even, right? And so anyway, I think the problem is on like, because my dad was married, right, and they would file a joint tax return. So technically, I don't think you can file a joint tax return for two people who both died in the same year because there's no surviving spouse. So the forms all say surviving spouse, and I need them to not say that because there is no surviving spouse. There is just me, the executor of my dad's estate, but I'm not an executor over Claire's stuff because when she passed away first, everything automatically transferred to my dad, right? And that is actually one of the best things that could have possibly happened. And I know that sounds terrible because obviously, like, I'm not her biological child. She has a biological child that she is estranged from. And if my dad would have passed away first, then everything would have went to Claire. And that means I would have ended up in court, more than likely, attempting to be named the executor over the property and stuff. Otherwise, her son, and I'm not shaming him, but he has a drug problem. He has done time in prison. He is actively participating in his addiction. Currently, like, it could have been very messy, and then allowing him, de facto heir, right? Like, to Claire, having control over, the property and the things that, like, Claire didn't work while she was married to my dad, and like my dad's money bought that house, like my dad's money bought that stuff in that house, and then to kind of hand that over, to this person who, first of all, I haven't seen in 20 plus years, and I have no idea when last time Claire saw him. It's probably been 10 years. I mean, it's been a long time, and it's like to then, and it's just weird. It's just weird, So if that would have been the case, I'm pretty sure I probably would have still been named the executor. However, he would have then technically been entitled, to stuff, as in money, right? Which is fine because it's just money. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. We have obviously no idea what is going to be left over after the sale of the house. We have no clue. There's the creditors have until June to contact me and tell me that they want their money. And if they don't contact me, then I kind of feel like maybe some of that stuff just goes away. We'll find out. So anyway, thankfully, again, my dad, I think I've mentioned this, didn't have any credit card debt. Everything he has is medical. So that's about it. That's about it. So anyway, otherwise doing okay. Like I said, work has just been an absolute disaster. It's nothing that I did. It's nothing actually to do with me at all. I just affect one of my accounts is just kind of turned upside down right now. And, it's just a mess. It's a mess, but it isn't because of me. And that's like, but I'm stuck in the middle of it. So I kind of feel like I am in the middle of, parents getting divorced, and it's awful. That's just it. Anyway, I did all my food prep yesterday. I'm really looking forward to that. I have to change the time of day that I'm eating because I'm training a little bit later in the day. So I have to make sure that I'm eating like closer to 5 o'clock versus closer to 4 o'clock. So I'm going to adjust that this week. My body, like I said, I'm super inflamed from all the training this week. Like, and it's just a lot of volume, like, especially with, it's been a lot of like squats and just deadlifts. So a lot of like lower body push pull movements. So I'm definitely carrying a lot of water weight right now. Like I can feel it. You know that feeling? You're like, oh, you know. So just continuing to hydrate and take care of that this week. So hopefully everything kind of normalizes again this week. The cat's sitting next to me on the couch staring at me. And it's just like, I think he wants something to eat, but he has food on his dish. So I don't understand what we're doing. Anyway, um, I have been like following along with the whole Chantel drama and, you know, via Pulpy Syntax because I literally cannot watch her stuff directly. I can only watch her and Amberlynn through reactions. Um, it's just too much. It's just too much. And, you know, there's, you know, weight loss this week that she posted up and all this stuff. And, you know, hey, listen, is it real? Who knows? Could it be? Sure. But I have a hard time believing that if it is real, that it's because she's made some sort of dramatic change in her diet based on the videos she's been posting and, you know, whatever. And I think it's probably more likely that her blood sugar is just very high. And so she's kind of, you know, having muscle wasting and stuff because of that. And so, which is, hi, Kitty, which is sad because you want to take care of yourself. But I feel like Chantel right now with the cat going all over the place. So anyway, he's gonna sit here now and he's gonna stare at me. Hi, baby. Um, and so yeah, and then kind of been catching up and keeping up a little bit with Amberlynn Reid. You know, her 100 days of weight loss or tracking or whatever she's doing. Not super like, excuse me, involved in what she's doing these days. Just because I have found it to be very annoying. And then like even the stuff with Chantel and her weight loss, like I was like, I work out 6 days a week and I have to stop him from knocking over water because that's what cats do. Anyway, I don't find it triggering. Like I just find it like it's obnoxious to me. And then what I think bothers me the most about it is one is like I have to remember that like she is unwell and it's not because she has found some sort of magic bullet around weight loss because like I'm trying to lose, you know, 20 pounds, whatever it is I'm trying to lose right now. And, you know, it's like, okay, you know, like you have done nothing but eat trash for a month and smoke weed or whatever. And, you know, which is fine, you know, and then you show up with this, you know, 28-pound weight loss. And I'm like, wait a second, like I lost like 2 pounds this month working my ass off. Right. And so also I'm not 400 pounds. So I have to always remember that too. But that's annoying to me. Right. And the other part of it that bothers me, I think, is that if people are watching her, right, and they're not understanding what's going on, like it's not because she's, you know, potentially, let's say allegedly, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, right? Um, it's because she's unwell and it's setting a strange example, right? You know, and so I'm just like, okay, great, you know, and it's like I just hope people realize that, right? And it's the same thing, you know, I saw a post and some pictures, you know, by Eugenia. And she looks on, I mean, I feel bad for her and I, you know, hope she gets the help that she needs and she deserves if that's what she wants, right? Again, I think it's really hard for us as human beings, you know, to realize that people have a right to kill themselves in any manner that they want. And it seems weird, and especially, I know I've said this before, as a woman, it's difficult to watch another woman struggle. You know, and you know, whether that's Chantel or Amber or Jen, who I saw a video she made, and I'm like, girl, like, wow, like, come on, you know, and she obviously is, you know, Jen, Life by Jen is obviously struggling with her, you know, addiction and different things, the mental health, you can tell, you know, and you don't want to see that, like it's awful. And so, you know, I saw some stuff with Eugenia and you know, and I just, you know, I hope that she can figure it out, right? I really do. Because I do think that she genuinely has like some raw talent there for makeup and different things, and she could have a wonderful platform if that's what she chose to do with it, you know, in terms of recovery and these little cosplays and stuff that she does. But part of that bothers me, you know, what has bothered me lately about her in particular is people see that and they see how successful she is, right? And how many followers she has and how much money she makes, and it's sort of like, oh, you could do this, right? Like you could do this, you could suffer from anorexia or whatever and still be insta famous, right? And still make a lot of money and still do all those things, and that there's no consequence to this, right? And that's just not the case, and we all know that, right? So that one's been a little hard for me to, like, see her lately, like some photos and stuff that I've seen pop up like on Twitter and stuff of her, and it's just, you just have to stop looking at it. And that's kind of how I am with Amberlynn right now. And again, I can only kind of digest Chantel and Amberlynn and, through reactions right now. That's pretty much the only way I can handle it, because otherwise I can't handle it, because I'm just like, this is insane. Like, this is insane, so anyway, I was supposed to do yard work today, but it is very windy and very cold out there. And I mean, I don't guess, maybe it's not that cold. It's like in the 30s, like, but this week coming up, it's supposed to be like 65. So I think we're going to go ahead and postpone the yard work. We have to rake out the beds on the condo property. Normally the condo like hires a service for that. But last year when I first moved here and I found out how much we were paying, I was like, I am sorry, but I am not paying somebody $2,000 to come here, every other week in the summertime and throw some seed on the grass and, like, clip the hedges. Like, come on, like, this is too much money. And so my neighbor downstairs and I are going to take care of the property this year. And I also got everyone away from hiring out for snow removal, because the snow removal here is ridiculously expensive and we don't get a lot of snow. And I know you're laughing at me when I say that, because you're like, don't you live in Wisconsin? Don't you live by a lake? And I'll be like, I do. However, generally speaking, it is a bit warmer here because Lake Michigan is shallow and it's, and it's warm, right? It's not like Lake Superior where I grew up, because I grew up on Lake Superior. It isn't like that at all. Sorry guys. It is, generally pretty mild here. Although we did have a couple of snowstorms this year where we got, 10 plus inches of snow, which is, not terribly common, but also not terribly uncommon. So, we did have, the first snowfall. The guy we had hired, actually, we had used previously, this is before I was here, did not show up. So that was a whole drama. But me and the kids that live in the apartment building next door, and the guys who live, like, have the garages on our alley out back, we all got together with our shovels and we shoveled out the property. So we shoveled out the apartments next door, our condo property, and then the guys, their garages and stuff too. So that worked out pretty well. And then we had hired a guy to do the second snowfall, which was not very much, but he just was not, he's like new to like running a snow removal business, and like all the ladies here wanted to give him a shot, and I knew it was going to be risky because, first of all, I didn't know what side of town this person lived on, and not that that matters, but I'll tell you why it matters. We're on the very east side of the city, right? So we're right on the lake. And if you live on the very west side of the city, you're 35 minutes away, right? And in a blizzard, you're an hour away. And if the road conditions are bad, you're even further away, right? And so it's, and so when we had like a major snowfall, like 7-8 inches, he wasn't here. Why? Because he got stuck at his house, right? He couldn't get out of his garage, his driveway, whatever. And so, I was just like, I'll just shovel the snow. And so like Ellen and I were shoveling, that's my neighbor downstairs. We were shoveling the snow this year. And then I did talk kind of everyone into like, let's get a snowblower for next year. Like just something small, 2-cycle, just enough to throw the snow, get it out of the way, something that we can, like I can handle, that she can handle, whatever. And so we're doing that too, because we were spending like almost $100 every time it would snow. And we have winter here and it snows January, February, March, typically, sometimes in December if we get an early snowfall, sometimes October if we get a really early snowfall. So I was like, we are wasting too much money on this. Like, this is stupid. And then we have to wait until they can get here. Right. And so I just get up. Is it snowing? Yep. When's it going to stop snowing? Noon. Okay, cool. Like block off my calendar at work, go out at noon and shovel us out. It just gets done faster. So anyway, so that's what we're doing here. yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I just have a lot going on, like with work, and then still like stuff with my dad, and then I'm going home again in like 10 days or so, 8 days, nine. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest with you. To get the house ready to be put on the market to be sold, and so that's what we will be doing in early April. Pretty sure the house will go pretty fast. Hopefully, it goes pretty fast. Um, and then once we close on that, I just have to wait until the deadline of um, the creditors making notifications to me that they want their money, and then I can start paying bills, and then whatever's left over is left over, and we'll have to have an estate sale at some point too. I think my mom's gonna handle that for me though, so I don't have to necessarily be up there to deal with that. So that'll be cool. Um, but that's about it. I hope you guys are having a good day. It's almost springtime. Um, COVID's doing pretty well here. We're still trending really well. No major issues lately. They're still doing some data corrections that happened this past week. Again, and this time at least the DHS explained that's what was going on. So people weren't all like, how come the numbers are going in reverse and moving different categories and stuff. So they did explain that, which is good. And then, yeah, so that's where we are. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. Pulpy Syntax is going live again tonight at like 7. I think it's 7 o'clock Central Time. I have my reminder set. Um, yeah, check it out. Last night I was able to catch a live stream of him playing Pokemon. It was really cool. It was really late at night. I had to tap out at like 11 o'clock, and then I was following on Twitter the NCHC, which is the like Midwestern division of men's hockey. So a number of years ago, the Big Ten split off from what was the original WCHA. And so the Big Ten has their own division now. So that's like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Purdue, Indiana, Ohio, like, Boston, like they all have their own division now. They wanted to have their own division. And so they split off from the WCHA. And then, so now you have schools like Minnesota Duluth and St. Cloud State University and University of North Dakota at Grand Forks. And I think Denver too might be. Denver or Colorado College might be part of it. But it's like all the schools that used to be in the WCHA, right? So they now they're all in one group, right? But then the Big Ten has their own because they are a bunch of elitist snobs, right? That's pretty much what that was, is that they wanted their own division because they felt they were far superior than these other teams, even though a lot of these teams had beaten them in championship games. So it's about money. That's what it's about. It's about money. So anyway, so last night the Bulldogs from Minnesota Duluth were playing, which is where I grew up. I grew up watching the Bulldogs, going to games. My brother went to school at University of Minnesota Duluth. So I am first and foremost always a Bulldog fan. And last night they were playing the North Dakota Fighting Sioux, which is what I know them as, but they are not the Fighting Sioux anymore. They are the Fighting Hawks now. But they were playing the Sioux last night. I'm sorry, the Hawks. And 5 overtimes. Five. And so I fell asleep like at midnight when they were still playing in their, like, I think I fell asleep in the 4th overtime. And I was just following it along on Twitter. It was on the radio, so you could like stream it on the radio. It wasn't on television, but like at least not down here. I'm a little too far away to have that be a priority for the TV stations. But anyway, so in the 5th overtime, finally, at just a little over 2 minutes, it was either 2:13 into the 5th overtime or 2:18 into the 5th overtime. UMD scored. And so the Bulldogs are going back to the Frozen Four for the 4th time in 4 years. And so everyone's pretty stoked. They're obviously exhausted. But to hold through both of those teams, to hold through 4 full overtimes and then 2 minutes into the 5th. And it's different in the playoffs. So you're all wondering right now, like, why wouldn't you have just gone to a shootout, right? So in NCAA rules, right, for hockey, during the regular season, it's 2 overtimes and then you go to a shootout. Okay. And the shootout is each team gets an opportunity to score, and then whoever scores the most at the end is done. Right. And then that's who wins. Okay. But in the playoffs, that rule does not exist. The rule is you play until someone scores. And I mean, it was a bloodbath. Like, can you imagine how exhausted they were? Like, after they literally played 2 full games of hockey yesterday, 2 full games. Like, that's what that was. Um, well, almost that, I guess. It wasn't technically that, but you have 3 periods, and then they played, two, one overtime. No, yeah, it would have been, yeah, because they played 4 overtime. Yeah, so they had their 3 regular periods, and then they played 4 periods after that, and then 2 minutes into the fifth, right? So they played 2 full games of hockey yesterday with no breaks. They don't give you a break. Like, I think they resurfaced the ice, but like, you get like 15 minutes, of break time, right? And then you're right back at it. And so, um, but yeah, so the kid who scored, I forget his name, but it's all over Twitter right now, and all over, the hockey channels and stuff, but is a hero. So hopefully, I think we're playing Boston again. I think that's the first game that we play, and we've beaten them. I think they've beaten them twice, actually, 2 or 3 times, maybe. I feel like they've beaten them every time we've won the Frozen Four. I forget. I have to check into that. I have to look at my stats. But yeah, so it was like a really long night last night. And so I was like Pokemoning, and then I had to tap out because I was tired. And then I was like laying in bed for a little while, like watching the score, waiting for something to happen. But both of those teams really held on for a really long time. And so they should be very proud of themselves. Obviously, go Bulldogs. Hopefully we can take all of that. They can get some rest and get ready to go play in the Frozen Four. So, and that is in April is when they'll do it. I'm not sure where it's at though this year. The last couple of years it's been out east. I would assume it's going to be out east again. That might be a rule. They might have to have it on the East Coast. I'm not sure what they're doing, but I'll have to check into that because I actually haven't seen. And I don't know if they're letting. I mean, they let fans into the one in North Dakota because they were playing in Fargo. So I would assume they're letting fans into the Frozen Four. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that'd be a really fun trip too. But yeah, anyway, so that's all I have for you. That's your hockey update. That's your CrossFit update. That is your public syntax update, whatever that was. Pokemon update. Update on my dad. Update on work. All the crap. The weather. All of it. So anyway, have an enjoyable Sunday afternoon or Monday, depending on where you are in the world, or Sunday night or whatever time it is where you are. And I will see you again soon. All right. Bye.